Hi, thanks for listening in. I'm Donnell Stedding, and this was my first ever YouTube video. For those of you who know me, I am often a perfectionist and can overanalyze things. So when I was thinking of making this video, that's what kept up showing up for me. And I was delaying recording this because I kept analyzing whether I should read what I want to discuss today or attempt to memorize it. As an act of letting go of perfectionism, I'm choosing to read what I want to share with you today. As the instructors of Julian Huff's Kinergy program say, it's not about perfection, it's about expression. I believe as humans, we often think things have to be done a certain way to be perfect before we take action, when I believe this often leads us to analysis, paralysis, and inaction. When I was thinking of various topics to discuss, I had a very different topic in mind for my first video. And then I saw what kept coming up for me when I thought about making this first video, and that was fear. Fears that came up were, will people like it? Will they like me? Will they find the information valuable? Will I have a positive impact? What if I offend someone? Then I thought, if you weren't afraid of what other people would think, what would you do that you're currently afraid to do? Maybe you can relate to some of these fears in your own life and can ask yourself that same question. My hope is that this video will serve as an example of what it looks like to push past your fears and take the steps to fill on your dreams and be authentically you, not worrying what other people think or if it is perfect. We'll come back to the topic of fear, how it may show up in your life, and some steps you can take to let it go and take action to live the most fulfilled life that you desire. First, I'd like to share a little of my story and why I have decided to create this YouTube channel. So let's go back to about 3 years ago. I had just gone through what felt like the worst year of my life in my marriage and then a divorce, and found myself at a place of wondering, what could I have done different and what was my part in this relationship leading to divorce? This is when I embarked on my personal growth journey. So since then, I've taken numerous programs, listened to a wide variety of YouTube videos and podcasts, and read several books related to the mind, personal growth, and spirituality. Although the way my marriage played out, ultimately leading to divorce, was not what I had hoped things, or how I think things should have turned out or hope they turned out, I am grateful for that experience. That is what led me on an amazing transformational journey that has brought me so much freedom and peace. This isn't to say that I don't still face challenges, but I now handle life's challenges in a way that is much different after all the work I have done and continue to do. My intention for this channel is to share with you some of the knowledge and techniques I've learned these past 3 years so that you too can live in a place of freedom and peace despite any external circumstances you may be experiencing. So let's go back to the topic of fear. Fear is something we all experience regardless of our sex, race, education, or place on our evolutionary journey. As I mentioned, fear has definitely been a play in my life, hindering me from creating this channel. I've had this idea in my mind for a few years, wanting to assist as many people as possible in living their best lives and freeing them from anything that may be limiting them, and my fears and concerns have been getting in the way. I also found myself making myself wrong for the feeling of fear because I was identifying myself as the fear and thinking that with all the personal growth work I have done, I shouldn't be feeling this way. Where in life has fear been hindering or stopping you from pursuing your dreams and goals? Maybe you have been wanting to change careers or start your own business or relocate to another state or start your own YouTube channel or ask someone out on a date or start working out or stop an addictive behavior, or leave a relationship, and you have all these fears holding you back. As you may have heard people say, fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is something our minds create. Often it is something that hasn't even happened, but our minds create all these what-if scenarios. Fear is often a projection of our past into the present or future. Thanks to Master Co, one thing that has been very helpful for me is to recognize that I'm not my thoughts, my feelings, or my body, but I'm a spiritual being that can observe my thoughts, feelings, and my body. With this viewpoint, you can then separate yourself from the fear and recognize that it is just a state you are experiencing. You then have a choice to decide what you do with the fear. You can hold on to it and let it stop you from achieving what you want in life, which can potentially lead to manifestation of dis-ease in your body, or you can recognize it and then choose to let go of the fear and take action. I don't believe fear is something you can completely get rid of. However, you can decide how you react to it when your mind creates it. It's interesting that as humans, we often cling to fear because it may feel more familiar than the freedom of what's available on the other side. I believe that what is often at the root of fear is not trusting God, the universe, and yourself. When you can trust, then you don't get attached to an outcome and trust whatever unfolds and take the next appropriate action with the unfolding. I imagine that you have let go of fear at some point in your life and took an action that felt uncertain to then come out on the other side so grateful you had taken those steps. I know that I have in my past from choosing to move to a state away from my family for grad school and starting my own business, just to name a few. My hope is that this YouTube channel will be another example of me recognizing my fear and then choosing to let it go and take action. As I mentioned earlier, I was collapsing fear with my identity and making it wrong. When I was able to separate it and identify it as something my mind created and it's not me, that's where I felt empowered and free. As humans, we tend to have this underlying thought that comes and goes that we aren't good enough. I believe we often don't pursue certain things in life, whether it be a career or a relationship, because we believe we aren't good enough. And we also don't take action out of fear that if we do take action and it doesn't go as planned, it will reinforce the notion that we aren't good enough. This is where it is helpful to, again, separate your identity from the fear and from the outcomes of your actions. I wanted to discuss fear with you because I think often even some of the most seasoned people at their particular profession or hobby experience fear at some times at varying degrees, and I believe people often don't want to talk about it because they're afraid of what people will think of them. I know for a long time I felt I had to present to the world that I had it all together and would not admit things such as feeling fear because I had this perfectionist mentality. I'm so glad I'm letting that go, and it's a continual process I engage in. I don't personally know Ben Stewart, however, I'd like to acknowledge him for this quote from one of his recent interviews that I listened to. You have to believe in yourself before you start to see it. You have to actually put it into action. It's not about sitting around just believing, you actually have to try it out. Thanks, Ben, for these words that were some of the inspiration that recently assisted me in taking action and creating this video. I hope this quote and what I have shared will speak to you and give you that nudge to take action where you have been holding back. So as I promised at the beginning of this video, let me leave you with some steps you can take when you're faced with fear. First, identify what is at the root of your fear, then acknowledge the fear and observe that it is just a state you're experiencing and not who you are. Next, choose to let go of the fear and then take a step towards fulfilling on what it was you were originally fearful of. This can be a process that takes time, so be patient with yourself and don't judge or shame yourself in the process. This is a quote I heard the other day read in the yoga class I attended that I want to share with you to encourage you to take that first step. You do not need to see the entire path ahead to take the first step. You do not need to have it all figured out and planned out. You just need to trust your heart and bravely take the first step forward. You can have fear or doubt and still begin. You can be cautious and uncertain and still choose to step forward. Too often we think that we need to have it all figured out before we can start. But the truth is that the best journeys we take aren't planned out perfectly to start to finish. The best journeys hold unexpected twists and turns. They take longer than we think they will. They bring us places we never thought to go. They teach us lessons we never thought we needed. They bring us people we never would have met otherwise. So when you find yourself at the foot of a brand new path, let go of needing to know everything ahead. Let go of your fears and embrace your courage. Know that every time you take a step forward, the next steps will appear. Trust yourself and trust the beautiful unfolding of your journey. This is a quote by Nikki Banez. Lastly, I'll leave you with another quote from Jim Carrey. Choose love and don't let fear turn you against your playful heart. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video on a topic that is near and dear to my heart and something I think we all need to embrace: self-love. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and may you live a life of peace, love, and empowerment while letting go of fear. Live a life you love.